So today we are classifying and graphing conics, general form conics. What we're going to do now is we're going to look at this. There's 16 of these, right, down here. There's 16 of them. We're going to classify them. Are they a circle, ellipse, hyperbola? The easiest way is just to ask yourself these three questions, right? These three questions, and if not, the answer will just be this one. So the first question is, as you classify, ask yourself, is there only one squared term? Only one squared term. If there is only one squared term, ladies and gentlemen, which one of the four would it be? It would be a parabola, right? That's what we did in the beginning of the year, chapter 5 it was, right? If there's only one squared term, it's a parabola. Now, if it's not a parabola, is there a minus between the two squared terms, or is there a minus in front of one of the squared terms? If so, just like the one Debbie did over there on the right-hand side, guys, we know what type of shape, what type of conic section is it? It is a hyperbola. Okay. Finally, if it's not a parabola, not a hyperbola, you look, is it the same coefficient? Is it the same coefficient either by what you're dividing by or in front? If it is, if it was the same number, it's going to be a circle. Right? That's like number 1 on the warm-up. On the other hand, if you have a different coefficient, we would know it's going to be stretched either in the x direction or the y direction, therefore it would be an ellipse. So these are the tests you can do to figure out which conic section it is. Let's take a look then at number 1, or number 2, excuse me. So right here, don't be fooled by this minus 3, minus 4. That's just the center. That has nothing to do with it. Rather, first off, I've got two squared terms. I've got two squared terms. It's not a parabola. Ladies and gentlemen, is it a hyperbola? Do I have a negative in front of either one of these? No, it's not a parabola, it's not a hyperbola. It's either a circle or an ellipse. Now, think about it. There's a 1 here and a 1 here. It's the same coefficient. You could divide by 9. If you divide it by 9, you have a divided by 9, divided by 9. It doesn't matter, though. It's the same number, so it's going to be a circle. Circle. Okay, number 4. Let's just step downward here. Let's look at this first question again. It looks like I have only one squared term. Therefore, I know what conic section is it. It's a parabola. Shifting over to number 3. Again, I've got only one squared term. It's not a circle, it's not an ellipse, it's not a hyperbola, it is a parabola. Okay? Number 5, let's take it step by step. Ladies and gentlemen, is it a parabola if I have two squared terms? Is this a parabola, number 5? No. Alright, next up, let's look for a minus sign. Is there a minus sign in front of either one of these? Okay, it's not a hyperbola, so now it's either going to be an ellipse or a circle. You can put this over 1 if you want. Put this over 1. Knowing that these two numbers are different numbers, which one would it be, a circle or an ellipse? It would be an ellipse. It's stretched more in the y direction. This is the major axis. This is an ellipse. Okay, I think you've got the idea. So go ahead and classify the next 4, please. For number 6, what do you think it is? Circle is correct. It kind of looks like an ellipse, though. Why do I know it's a circle and not an ellipse, Alex? Exactly, same denominator. It's not stretched one way or the other more. It's a plus sign. There's two squared terms. Very good. It's a circle. Let's jump down to number 8. Number 8. Catherine, what do you think number 8 would be? Hyperbola is correct. Why do I know it's a hyperbola? Exactly. Right here, this minus sign is a giveaway. Very good. The minus sign is giveaway. Number 7. Amy, what do you think about number 7?
Parabola.
Parabola is correct. Why is it a parabola?
Because there's only one square.
Exactly. Only one squared. There's no square term here, so that's not going to be any of the other ones. So, let's do the same thing, though, one by one. I've got two squared terms, so it's not a parabola. Step 2, ladies and gentlemen, is it a hyperbola? There's a minus sign right here, so yes. Hyperbola. Okay, jump down to number 12. Jump down to number 12. It's not a parabola. I've got two squared terms. Ladies and gentlemen, is number 12 a hyperbola? Is there a minus sign in front of either one of these squared terms? No. This minus sign has nothing to do with it. It's only these two. Alright, so let's think. It's either circle or an ellipse. Because the coefficients are different, it must be a ellipse. An ellipse, excuse me. A-N. Alright, so number 11. Okay, it's two square terms, so it's not a parabola. Is it a hyperbola? It is. They got a minus sign right there. It's a hyperbola. Okay, number 13. It's not a parabola. It's not a hyperbola. Question, ladies and gentlemen, is it a circle or an ellipse? You've got a 1 and a 1. It's the same coefficient. It is a circle. It is a circle. All right. Go ahead and do the last 4, please. Number 14, what do you think? All right, parabola. Why is it parabola? Only one square term. Fantastic. Let's see. Why don't we go down to number 16? Number 16, Aurelio, it's not a parabola because it got two square terms. What conic is it, Aurelio? It is an ellipse. You got a 1 and a 9. It's a positive, so it's not a hyperbola. It's an ellipse. Good. Stacy, number 15, what conic do you think it is? Hyperbola. Why is it a hyperbola? The minus sign in front. It's not a parabola. Yep. And let's see, Anna Fernandez, for number 17, which one do you think it is? Parabola, correct. We got just one square term. Fantastic. All right. Oh, that's right. Number 18 we did as well. Jigna, number 18, which one do you think it is? Circle. Very good. It's a circle because they're both squared. It's the same sign in front. Number 1. The problem is, ladies and gentlemen, normally, is this equation in our standard, does this look like the standard form of a circle? No, the standard form, we want it to look like this, right? X minus h squared plus y minus k squared equals r squared. This is not this. First step we want to do is we want to gather, we're going to gather the x's and y's. We want to gather the x's and y's. Gather them together, and then let's move the constant. Move the constant over. Gather the x's and y's, and let's move the constant over. Okay, so let's gather the x and y. So put these two together. X squared. X squared. Get the pen that works here. Minus 2x. Now, we're going to be completing the square in the next step. So why don't you go ahead and just leave a little blank here. Plus blank. X squared minus 2x plus blank. All right, let's gather the y's together. So plus y squared plus 6y plus blank. All right, we're leaving it blank here. And then we're going to move the constant over. Move the constant over. So in other words, we're going to add 4 to both sides. Add 4 to both sides. So we get 4. Okay, any questions there about what we did? And it's kind of weird at first, but any questions? Now, my goal is to make this into a perfect square. My goal is to make this into a perfect square because then I can graph it like a circle. The problem is this is not a perfect square. Right? We want to factor this eventually. We want to factor this, but we don't know what number goes here. Do you guys remember the 2 steps to complete the square? Exactly. You're going to take it, you're going to half it, and then you're going to square it. Take B, half it, and square it. Half it and square it. So let's do that. Step 2, we'll call this step 2, completes the square. And this is going slow because we're writing down all these steps. I mean, you won't do this every time. We're going to complete the square, so we're going to half it and we're going to square it. Take this b term right here, negative 2. We're going to half it, so divide it by 2. Divide it by 2, half it. And then we're going to square it. Half it and square it. Well, half of that would be -1. -1 squared. You square it. -1 times -1 gives you 1. So this number right here, we write that in green. Plus 1. Now my equation's unbalanced. So what do I need to do? Add 1 over here. You got to add 1 on this side. Alright, let's do the same thing over here. We're going to half it and square it. Take this 6, we're going to half it, 6 over 2, and we're going to square it. Half it and square it. 6 divided by 2 is 3. 3 squared. Ladies and gentlemen, what number goes in that little blank? 9. Half it and square it. If I add it to this side, I got to add it to this side to keep everything balanced. Half it and square it. Okay, why did we just do that? It's because we want to make this look like a perfect square. We want to make this look like a perfect square, and we can do that now. Let's go ahead and factor this. 1 goes up here. You don't have to do this you can do this in your head. It's not that bad usually. -2 goes here. Alright guys, the two numbers that multiply by 1 add up to -2. Is it 1 and 1 or -1, -1? -1, -1. It's always going to be the same number twice because this is a perfect square. So let's do our last step now, step 3. Step 3, we're going to factor, and then we'll divide if necessary. In fact, in this problem, it's not necessary to divide. Okay, we're going to factor, so we just did that. This is going to be x minus 1, x minus 1. X minus 1, x minus 1, but we can just call that x minus 1 squared. All right, doesn't this look like what it's supposed to be now? Right, this looks like this. Plus, let's factor this guy. Again, you can do this in your head, but if you want, you can draw out this little x here. So let's be a 9. That would be a 6. And then, so Max, what two numbers go in here? Multiply by 9, add up to 6. 3 times 3, exactly. Same number twice. 3 times 3 is 9. 3 plus 3 is 6. So we're going to get y plus 3 times y plus 3, or y plus 3 squared. Now this looks like this, which is exactly what you want, equals 4 plus 1, that's 5. 5 plus 9, 14. Is this the standard form for a circle, ladies and gentlemen? We've got it. We did it. If you want to divide by 14, I'll put or here. You could go like this. You don't have to. You could divide everything by 14. And this, of course, would just equal 1. These are the same things. This is the standard form, but this is fine too. You can work with this. That's fine. All right, let's go ahead and graph it. Our center is going to be 1, comma, -3. All right, and our radius, it's not 14. What's our radius going to be? Our radius is going to be the square root of 14, which it's not a whole number. That's okay. I know that the square root of 9 is 3. I know that the square root of 16 is 4. So I know it's between 3 and 4, and it's closer to, it looks like 14 is a little bit closer to 16, so I'll put it a little bit closer to 4, a little bit more than halfway. So let's go 1, -3. 1, -3. Let's go ahead and graph that. 1, -3. There it is. 1, -3. That's my center. 1, -3. Okay, let's go ahead and do our radius. We're going to go square root of 14, which is between 3 and 4, a little bit more than halfway. So we're going to go up 1, 2, 3, a little bit more than halfway. We're going to go down 1, 2, 3, a little bit more than halfway. We're going to go left 1, 2, 3, a little bit more than halfway. We're going to go right 1, 2, 3, a little bit more than halfway. That is standard form of a circle. We've grafted it, we shifted it. It's a pretty long process, but we know how to do every step along the way.